In this video, I'm going to teach you how to develop more presence. You'll learn what presence is, why it's important, and how to develop more of it in your life. Presence is silence. Silence. Presence is silence. When you are present, you become silent within. When we fantasize, think, or worry about the future, we lose presence. We sacrifice the moment so that we can have an imaginary future, whether that's good or bad. Presence is stillness. When we have a thought about the past, we become active. There's no longer silence within. When you have a thought, you move. You might not move physically, but when you have a thought, your energy moves. When you have a thought form, a shape happens and a movement happens. Every thought is a movement. It's a disturbance of the peace. Now, I know you might not want to feel like every time you have a thought, you're disturbing the peace, right? But the truth is, when you have a thought, that thought creates a movement. I'm sure you've heard the expression, where attention goes, energy flows. When you have a thought, your attention goes in a direction. Now, whether that's a thought about the past or a thought about the future, your attention moves with that thought. As soon as you start having thoughts, there's movement, there's energy, there's a change. So presence is silence and stillness. When you have silence and stillness, you have awareness. Awareness increases with silence and stillness within. And this is really what a presence is all about. Presence is awareness. You know, if you're having a thought and this thought is very, it's consuming you, you're not going to be aware of what's happening around you because the thought is taking your energy. The thought is your focus point. Take away the distraction, the thoughts. When you become silent and still, awareness becomes the dominant state. Awareness is happening all by itself. You cannot choose to be aware or not aware. When we connect with awareness, we connect with the witness. We become the observer of what is going on in the present moment. So let's talk about how we can develop more presence. One of the ways that you can develop more presence is by focusing on the breath. And for this, you can breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth if you want, but I recommend you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose, in through your nose and out through your nose. The practice of focusing on your breath, and I mean focusing on it, following the breath in and out. This is why it's important to do it with your eyes closed, because if your eyes are open, you can be distracted by what's going on around you. If you take away the vision, now you can focus inwards much easier. So focusing on the breath. Now you don't want to control the breath, so just let the breath happen naturally. The breath is going to come in, it's going to go out. It's going to come in and it's going to go out. It's been doing that every day since you've been born, every minute. The breath is just going to happen. And this is why the breath is so powerful for developing presence. Because when you just focus on the sensation of the breath, the incoming breath, the outgoing breath, the incoming breath, the outgoing breath, when you just focus on that and nothing but that, you're going to notice that everything else becomes irrelevant. You don't need to be thinking about anything when you're focusing on the breath. But the key here is that you got to give it your attention. Remember, where attention goes, energy flows. Now, when you put your attention on the breath, then your energy attaches to the breath. You don't need to add anything. The breath stands by itself. When you have presence with the breath, you have presence overall. The next thing we're going to do to try and develop more presence is to focus on an object. Now, this can be anything. It could be just an inanimate object on the table, a glass, a pen, a box, it doesn't matter. What's important is that whatever you use to stare at, whatever you look at, that you don't label it, you don't let any chatter happen inside, any internal dialogue come up. You just look at it and you observe it and you notice it. You look at the shape, you look at the color, you bring all the energy of your being into that one fine point, and you use all of your energy, intention and focus on just staring at the object. Just really, really looking at that object and just absorbing it. Absorb as much as you possibly can from it. The color, the shape, the reflection, anything about it that doesn't require a thought. Anything about it that doesn't require, this is a nice pen, or this is a beautiful pen, or oh, I remember where I bought that pen. Nothing. Just empty mind. Pick an object, focus on it, bring your full attention, and you will become present. The next way we're going to develop presence is listening. Now, this exercise is best done with your eyes closed. So when you close your eyes, I want you to start listening to whatever sounds you can hear. And I want you to take each sound as it happens, starting with whatever's the most obvious, whatever's closest to you. It could be the humming of a refrigerator, could be the noise of my cats playing in the background. But I want to take whatever sound that is, I want to absorb it. I want to let it wash over me, and I want to listen to what other sounds I can hear off in the distance. What can I hear outside of my house, across the street, maybe a plane flying overhead. But I don't want to label what I can hear. Absorb as much sound as you possibly can with your eyes closed, and try to see how many sounds you can hear in the one moment. See how many sounds you can absorb and take in at the same time. What you'll find is that as you take one sound in and another sound in and another, you'll feel your awareness expand gradually as it tries to reach out further and further to try and absorb in what is the smallest sound I can hear in the very, very far off distance. What is the smallest sound? So we've talked about the breath, focusing on the breath. We've talked about focusing on an object without attaching any meaning or identification to it. And we've talked about just closing your eyes and listening and absorbing as much sound as you possibly can. These are 3 ways you can become present. The 4th way is to scan the body for aliveness. I love this one. In fact, this one is my passion, because if you've been watching my videos, you know that I love Tai Chi. And Tai Chi is all about feeling what's going on inside the body. It's about developing as much awareness as we can of our physical structure, any tension that we're feeling, any movement, any tingling or any vibration, any movement of chi, anything at all. It's about bringing our full awareness to the internal of the body to experience what can I feel inside. An easy way to start with this exercise is to pick a body part. It could be your knee, it could be your thumb, it could be your left big toe, but whatever it is, you got to close your eyes again. This helps because you're not distracted by what you can see. Close your eyes and visualize the body part. Let's say it's your big toe. I want you to see your big toe with your mind's eye. Its shape, how long it is, how wide it is, how short it is. Is it hot or is it cold? What can you feel? How do you even know, with your eyes closed, how do you even know that your big toe is there? Can you feel the presence of your big toe? This exercise is a little bit harder than some of the previous exercises because it really requires us to use this intuitive sense. It requires us to send the instrument of our mind inside the body to figure out where it is, what we can feel. But this one is very powerful because once you develop this ability to scan the body, it's also going to help you to spot tension and spot stress in your body much easier, so that's going to help you release it. So this is the 4th way that you can develop more presence, by scanning your body, eyes closed, relaxing. What can I feel inside the body? The final way I want to talk about becoming present is to focus on thoughts. Now, this one is probably going to be the hardest of all, because it's very easy that once we start to focus on thoughts, that we get carried away with a train of thought, or that we follow that thought into, an idea or so on. Any thoughts that we have tend to, as we give them energy, they tend to grow, expand, and add to themselves. So for this exercise, you're definitely going to need to be sitting down, eyes closed, and it's really the introduction into meditation. Meditation is really the ultimate way to become present. Meditation is about presence. It's about awareness. It's about finding that silence, stillness within. So with eyes closed, sitting down in a relaxed posture, we just want to observe the first thought that comes into our awareness. And just like when you're reading a book quietly to yourself, we start a mental dialogue. Now it could be an image, it could be a vision of something that's going to happen in the future. That's a thought. That's a creation. It's a form, it's a shape. Any vision, thought, memory, idea, fantasy, fear, anything that comes up in awareness when your eyes are closed, anything that comes up can be examined, can be observed. You can become aware of it. So focusing on the thoughts allows you to develop the separation between who you really are and the thought forms that are arising. The thing is, you don't ask for your thoughts, right? Thoughts just happen, right? Now, I know that we can analyze and we can use the mind, but thoughts arise unasked for. And what I want you to notice with this exercise, this specific exercise, is that you are not your thoughts. Because when you learn to sit quietly and observe your thoughts, and then you are observing and you're observing, and the thought comes up, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I should go, this is stupid, whatever thought comes up, I'm observing it. The I that is observing the thoughts, is your true self. Most people believe that I am my thoughts. I am my thoughts. I think, therefore I am. Well, it really should be I am, therefore thoughts occur. I am a magnificent human being with the capacity to have thoughts and to use a cerebral cortex to do all kinds of amazing things. I am, therefore this happens. So now as we focus on thoughts and we're observing the thoughts that come up, we're not trying to label the thoughts as good or bad. We don't have a reaction to the thought and we don't get carried away with the thought. We just sit and from a silent space, just observe the thoughts, just observe them and just let them come up randomly. What you'll find is that thoughts just appear randomly. They just come up out of nowhere. All kinds of crazy thoughts, you'd be like, why the hell was I thinking that? Thoughts just come. You don't ask for your thoughts. You don't ask for the thoughts to come. The thoughts just appear and there they are. So what I want you to take from this exercise is two things. First of all, that in order to be able to observe your thoughts properly so that you can fully assess them and understand them, you first have to develop that silence and stillness. You have to become silent and still so that you can see the thoughts and observe the thoughts in this sort of emptiness, the thought appears in an empty space, wherever you imagine that to be. The second thing I want you to understand and take away from this is that you are not your thoughts. You are not the thoughts. You are the observer of the thoughts. And the thoughts are happening separate to whoever you are. Now, the way I want to really drive this home for you is like this. When you stop thinking, you still exist. When you no longer have any thoughts, guess what? You're still you. You are not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. And this is a big leap for anybody. I mean, this one is probably the hardest for people to get to, but if you can get there, my God, you are set. You are absolutely set. This is the big separation. the separation from me and my mind to I and the mind. You have to realize that you are not your mind, you are you. The mind is a tool that you can use. Now I want to close this video by giving you one last tip about presence, and that is how to be present with other people. Because when you can learn to develop presence with others, you're going to find that your relationships and your experiences with others are going to be more fulfilling, they're going to be more joyful, they're going to be more energetic, and you're just going to add more value to them and to yourself by being more present. And here's the easiest way to not lose presence when you're in a conversation with someone. The habit, the tendency is that when somebody is talking to us, that we're listening, but at some point we often hear something that they say and it triggers us, and it triggers a thought or an idea within us. Now, if we're impolite, we just butt in straight away and we say, no, this is what I think. But if we're polite, what we do is sometimes we hold on to that thought and we're like, okay, don't lose that thought, I need to tell them what I think. So when we do that, we actually stop listening to that person. We have this feedback that we want to give them, and when we hold on to that feedback while they're talking to us, we lose presence. We can't hold on to a thought and listen fully and openly at the same time. And a lot of people struggle with this. In fact, sometimes when you're talking to someone, you can actually see their eyes go, like it starts to look in different directions or wobble, because they're like, you can see that there's an internal struggle. There's an internal struggle going on inside that person where their brain is active and they're working things out. Yeah, they've lost presence. And I don't want that to be you. I want you to develop presence. Sit for a minute and observe your thoughts. Sit for a minute and observe your body. Sit for a moment and just observe your breath, or wherever you are, just breathe in and out. You need to do this. So take these methods and try them in your life. I want you to have more presence. I want you to feel more joy. I want you to feel more alive. And the only way you're going to do that is by becoming more present. Because when you lose presence, we lose the ability to connect with others. We lose the ability to connect with ourselves. So try these things out. Focus on the breath. Let that breath come in and out. Observe it. Focus on an object. Try it out in nature. Observe beauty. Look at something beautiful and just let the beauty wash over you. Look at a bird or an animal, and without labeling it or saying, oh, that's this type of bird or that type of bird, just observe it. Look at the colors. Look at the way it moves. Just observe it. Just observe. Listen. Try listening to things. Go outside. Go into the open. Try and hear as many sounds as you can possibly hear. Let the sounds wash over you. Just let them wash over you. Feel it. Feel the sounds wash into you. Become more aware. As you start to test these different methods, even if it's just a minute here and a minute there, what happens is you start to create this, let's say, a muscle memory inside the body of becoming more present. And it starts small, but you've got to start. You've just got to start. And I promise you that if you start to try to be more present and attempt to be more present and make it a thing, make being present a thing, even if it's just 1 minute a day, that 1 minute creates an imprint in your consciousness. That 1 minute creates this imprint in consciousness that says, I have the ability to be silent and still. And every time you do that, it's like you're adding another brick into the wall. It's like you're gradually building this castle that's going to be powerful and profound for you. You're going to have presence show up in your life more often. That's a fact. You do it a little bit, it starts to take up momentum, and before you know it, you're going to find that presence becomes a more dominant state in your life. I want you to take these ideas and run with them, guys. Just try a little bit every day to find some inner peace within, to find some stillness within, and what you're going to find is that your awareness increases. And the more you do it, the more your awareness is going to increase. So let me know in the comments, guys, what you do to become aware. How do you improve presence? What works for you? Post your comments below, share this video with others if you found it helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.